The bell at Northgate Preparatory Academy did not ring. It chimed, a gentle, melodic sound for a gentle, melodic place. Here, the sons and daughters of surgeons and senators learned history from leather-bound books. They discussed philosophy on lawns, manicured with geometric precision. It was a world of quiet privilege and unspoken rules. And in the middle of it all was Arissa. To her classmates, she was a curiosity, a quiet girl who wore simple clothes and kept to herself. She was the daughter of a man famous for breaking bones, living in a world built on careful handshakes. She did not want the attention. She just wanted to graduate. She wanted a normal life, a life that was about to be turned upside down. The school library was her sanctuary. The scent of old paper and wood polish calmed her. Arissa sat in a secluded carrel, studying for a history final. Her bag was on the floor beside her. Her phone was on the table, screen down. All she wanted was to finish her notes and fade back into the background. But a shadow fell over her desk. It was long and imposing. She looked up and saw the school's new security guard, a man named Officer Miller. He did not smile. His eyes were cold and accusatory. Behind him stood Mrs. Albright, her chemistry teacher, looking uncomfortable but resolute. The serene quiet of the library suddenly felt suffocating, and Arissa knew, with a dreadful certainty, that her day was no longer her own. A student's laptop is missing, Officer Miller said. His voice was too loud for the library. A few heads turned. It was taken from a table near here. Arissa looked at him, then at her own laptop, old and covered in stickers. She said nothing. She did not understand her role in this conversation. Mrs. Albright shifted her weight. Arissa, a few students saw you near the table just before it vanished. The teacher's words were careful, but the implication was a hammer blow. Saw her near the table. In a library, the accusation hung in the air, invisible and toxic. Arissa felt the blood rush to her face. I have been right here for an hour, she said, her voice steady. She would not let it shake. Her father had taught her that. Your voice is a weapon. Do not hand it to your enemy. Officer Miller took a step closer. He was a large man, a former police officer who missed the authority of the badge. Here, he was just a campus guard. And he resented it. Let me see your bag, he commanded. It was not a request. Students were now openly staring. Whispers spread like fire through dry grass. Arissa's heart pounded against her ribs. This was a violation, a public shaming based on nothing. No, she said. The word was quiet but firm. You do not have the right to search my belongings without cause. She knew her rights, but in that moment, asserting them felt like a confession. Miller's jaw tightened. He saw a rich kid with an attitude. He saw a challenge. He did not see a scared young woman trying to hold on to her dignity. We can do this the easy way in the principal's office, or we can do this the hard way. The first shocking twist was not the accusation itself. It was the public nature of it. In a school that prized discretion above all else, Officer Miller had just lit a match in a room full of gasoline. The walk to the principal's office was the longest walk of Arissa's life. It was a gauntlet of staring eyes and pointing fingers. Miller held her arm in a grip that was unnecessarily tight, parading her through the main hall as if she were a captured fugitive. The chimes for class change rang out, and the hallway flooded with students. They stopped and stared. Phones came out, small dark mirrors reflecting her humiliation. She stole something, someone whispered loudly. The rumor was now a fact. Arissa Seagal, the action star's daughter, was a thief. Her cheeks burned with a shame so hot it felt like a fever. She wanted to disappear. She wanted to be anyone else, anywhere else. Her friend Maya pushed through the crowd. What is happening? Let go of her, Maya yelled at Officer Miller. The guard sneered. Mind your own business. Your friend is in serious trouble. Maya was frantic. She looked at the faces in the crowd, then back at the unmoving guard. Do you even know who she is? She shouted, her voice cracking with desperation. That is Arissa Seagal. You cannot do this. The second twist landed with a thud. Instead of caution, the name provoked scorn. Officer Miller laughed. It was a harsh, ugly sound. Yeah, right, he scoffed. And I am the King of England. Get to class. He was convinced now. He believed he had caught not just a thief, but a liar. He tightened his grip on Arissa's arm, his knuckles white. The revelation of her identity had not saved her. It had made everything worse. The principal's office was an oasis of calm that felt like a trap. Principal Davenport sat behind a large mahogany desk, his expression a careful mask of neutrality. He listened as Officer Miller recounted his version of events. The missing laptop, the witnesses who saw Arissa nearby, her refusal to have her bag searched, her friend's absurd claim about her father. Arissa stood in the center of the room, feeling like a specimen under a microscope. She did not speak. She waited. She assessed. The principal steepled his fingers. Arissa, this is a very serious matter, he began, his tone smooth and patronizing. Northgate has a zero-tolerance policy. However, we also value discretion. If you simply return the laptop, we can handle this internally. No need for official records. It can all go away. He was not asking for the truth. He was asking for a confession. He wanted the problem to disappear. The injustice of it was a physical weight, pressing down on her chest. They had already decided she was guilty. She was just a problem to be managed. Tears welled in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She thought of her father's voice, a low rumble of calm in a chaotic world. Breathe. Do not let them see your fear. As she was about to speak, to deny it all again, the principal stood up. He had an idea. It was the third most shocking twist of all. We have a guest on campus today, Arissa, he said with a sigh. A parent volunteer for our career day assembly. He is a man who speaks often about honor and integrity. Perhaps he can talk some sense into you. The principal walked to a connecting door that led to his private conference room. He opened it. Mr. Seagal, he said. Apologies for the delay. We have a small disciplinary issue with a student. And from the doorway, Steven Seagal emerged. He had been there the whole time. He stepped into the office, his eyes adjusting to the room. He saw the principal's placating smile. He saw the guard's arrogant stance, and then he saw his daughter. Standing alone, accused, the world stopped. The air in the room became thick and heavy. Steven Seagal did not move. He simply stood in the doorway, a towering figure of impossible stillness. His gaze swept over the scene. It lingered for a fraction of a second on Officer Miller's hand, still resting on his daughter's arm. Then his eyes met Arissa's. He saw the fear she was trying so hard to hide. He saw the fire of injustice burning behind her eyes. The temperature in the room seemed to drop by 20 degrees. The principal's smile faltered. Officer Miller, suddenly realizing who Maya was talking about, went pale. He snatched his hand away from Arissa's arm, as if it were on fire. Seagal took a slow step into the office. He shut the door behind him. The click of the latch sounded like a judge's gavel. His voice, when he finally spoke, was not loud. It was something far more terrifying. It was quiet, a velvet whisper wrapped around steel. "You are the principal," he said to Davenport. It was a statement, not a question. "Explain to me why my daughter was physically dragged through a hallway." Principal Davenport began to stammer about school policy and probable cause. Seagal cut him off with a slight raise of his hand. "Show me the policy that allows an unarmed guard to lay his hands on a minor student for a non-violent accusation." He turned his gaze to Miller. "You, what is your name?" The guard could barely speak. "Miller, Officer Miller." Seagal took another step. "Miller, you accused my daughter of theft in a public library. You denied her the right to refuse a search without a warrant or parental consent. You publicly humiliated her, and you put your hands on her. Tell me, under what authority did you do these things?" Just then, the office door burst open. It was Maya, out of breath, holding a silver laptop. This was the final twist. The one that unraveled everything. "I found it," she gasped. "In a trash can by the gym, I saw Kevin toss it. He bragged about it." The evidence of Arissa's innocence was now sitting on the principal's desk. Undeniable, absolute, silence. The laptop on the polished desk was a monument to their failure. Principal Davenport looked as if he might faint. Officer Miller stared at the floor, his career evaporating before his eyes. Steven Seagal looked at the principal. "You were not interested in the truth," he said, his voice laced with cold fury. "You were interested in a quick and quiet solution. You were ready to sacrifice my daughter's reputation for your schools. You failed in your duty of care. You failed as an educator. And you failed as a man." He did not need to raise his voice. Every word was a crushing blow. Davenport began to apologize, profusely and pathetically. "Officer Miller will be suspended, effective immediately," he stammered. "Mrs. Albright as well. We will review all protocols." Seagal was unmoved. "You will not be reviewing protocols with me," he said. "You will be reviewing them with my lawyers." He walked to Arissa and placed a hand on her shoulder. The protective gesture spoke volumes. He led her out of the office, past the stunned principal and the disgraced guard. They walked back down the Nauseeland hallway. The students who had filmed her humiliation now looked away in shame. Justice had arrived, not with a shout, but with a quiet, unshakable calm. And it was devastating. That afternoon, Northgate Preparatory Academy issued a formal apology to the Seagal family. Officer Miller was fired. Mrs. Albright was placed on administrative leave. The story became a quiet legend at the school, a cautionary tale about judgment and the abuse of power. Arissa finished her school year not as a curiosity, but as a symbol of resilience. She learned that day that the world can be unfair, that people will believe the worst for the worst reasons. But she also learned that character is not defined by the accusation. It is defined by how you stand in the storm. And she learned that sometimes, when you feel most alone, help is already there, just behind the door, waiting for the right moment to walk in. Have you ever been falsely accused or judged unfairly? Share your story in the comments below. Let us talk about the power of truth. And if you believe in justice, hit that like button and subscribe for more true stories of redemption. Remember to stand firm in who you are. because integrity is the one thing no one can ever steal from you.